Alright guys, I caved. I'm doing the S tier thing. This is the lazy video that every YouTuber does apparently. So we're going to be doing the S tier of all the Total War games, and I'm kind of excited for this video because there's a lot of misconceptions about me, about like what I like, or that I'm some sort of like historical sicko fan, like only historical. Which I see that all the time when people talk about me. They're like, oh, he's a historical nut. He only plays historical. It's like, well, the only reason I have 800,000 subs is because of Third Age Total War. That's a fantasy mod. So I love fantasy. In fact, I was excited for when Warhammer was announced. I just wasn't excited when I played the game. Which we'll get into. Also, another thing that people bring up is, I thought you were done with Total War. I am, and if you watch the video, I explain that I am in no longer contact with CA. I do not talk to them. I don't get any exclusive games, and I don't play any of their new games. The last game I played was Troy. I got that early and I was supposed to make a video of it, and I just deleted it. I was like, I'm not doing this because I don't want to promote this. I don't like this. And Troy was my last straw. You know, I was patient through Warhammer 2, Three Kingdoms, and I was like, okay, I'll give him one more chance, maybe. But Troy was the final straw for me, and I was just like, you know, I'm done with these. Aren't made for me. And maybe you like them, and that's awesome. And that's the other thing I want to mention. Like, this is my opinion. You might like the new games. That's great. It doesn't make you stupid. It doesn't make you dumb. It's just a different taste. You know, I know Total War, the subreddit has been taken over by just purely Warhammer fans. And these are like early Total War or new Total War fans that, you know, they don't, you know, at least that's what I kind of, when I read the posts and stuff, which I don't do often. Anyways, this will also clear up. A lot of people ask me what my favorite Total War is. This will clear that up. Also, other Total Wars that I like, and then Total Wars that I hate. So yeah, let's jump in. I don't wanna delay you guys any longer. And there is like these like non-Total War games like Arena, which doesn't even exist anymore. I think they took it down from China too. They like exclusively, they took it down for everyone and only China, and then now in China they don't even have it, which is really dumb. We got this Kingdom game, which is like some mobile game I never played. It looks really stupid. And then Spartan Total Warrior, I don't know. I didn't play it. It's like an RPG or something. I didn't play it. So technically, the most recent one would be Warhammer 3. Unfortunately, it's not up here, but I would just give it like an F tier. I'm sure you know I don't like Warhammer. I think they are. I think for a Warhammer game they're good, but for a Total War game they're not good at all. Because it just, I'm a bit of a romantic. When it comes to Total War, I'm a bit of a romantic. When it comes to video games, I'm a bit of a romantic. What I mean by that is I'm not a stats guy. I'm a romance guy. And you think I'd like Three Kingdoms, but that's not the case. I like, we'll get into it later. But anyways, Warhammer 3, I've never played it, so it's not really fair for me to rate it, but I see that a lot of people hate it, and the reason they hate it, I don't even, like, the reason that people get upset that Warhammer 3 is not good, I'm like, that's not even why I don't like it. I mean, like, this game, and we'll explain why in the other Total War. So let's just move on to Troy. Again, I played a little bit of that. Troy is a historical game with monsters and creatures, and it doesn't kind of feed, like, Troy would be really fascinating if they just decided to pick between super realism, historical, or fantasy, which eventually they just did with the DLC, with monsters or whatever. But I just don't like the battles. They feel cartoony. They feel small. There's not a lot of romance to that. So anyways, let's get into this one where the game's finally here. Warhammer 2. So Warhammer 2, I had fun with it. Again, the only way I have fun with these games is say this is not a Total War game. This is not a Total War game, and you can enjoy it. It's the campaign's okay. It doesn't have that sandbox feeling. You got this whole vortex thing going on, and once you beat it once, it's like, all right, I'm done. I did a Skaven campaign, and I actually beat that campaign, and a lot of people enjoyed it. I didn't mind it too much, so I'm gonna give this an E. Not the absolute worst, but not the greatest. And the reason I give it an E, because coming from a Total War standpoint, it's just my issue with Warhammer is that it's so underwhelming. It's so it okay, so, and again, this is not a fantasy thing. This is not me having an issue with fantasy. This is more me having an issue of how they actually, the mechanics of the game, the atmosphere of the game. Like I said, Third Age I play all the time. Now that's not an official Total War game, but it's a mod on Medieval 2, and I think that you can do fantasy and make it feel lifelike. You know, make it feel like, and that's why I love Lord of the Rings, is because it feels like real history. It feels like this actually happened. The grittiness, the you know, just how immersive it is. And with Warhammer, it's just, you know, it's just, the mechanics suck. The factions are uninteresting. The battles are lightning fast. Some armies, if they have a lot of monsters, they're like teeny tiny armies that just monsters running around. It's just, the flying units are boring. You know, they just kind of fly in place, and like they don't, like, you could have done such cool stuff with Warhammer, and that's why I was, like I said, I was excited for it when they first announced it. Yeah, that's why I don't like Warhammer. It's just, it doesn't feel like a Total War game. And if you're wondering, well, what does, I'll get to that when we get to the other Total Wars. So Warhammer, right? Is that the Warhammer? I'm pretty sure, or is it I think it was Three Kingdoms next. So Three Kingdoms is actually, you know what? Three Kingdoms is older than, or newer than Warhammer 2. So technically, whatever. Three Kingdoms, I will give a E as well. So the reason I give this an E as well is because this was supposed to be for fantasy fans. And again, when I say fantasy, I don't mean like people only want to play fantasy games. I mean like the game has characteristics that the older fantasy titles have. That's what I have in mind. I personally, Three Kingdoms is a fantasy. These characters, it's like so long ago, these characters we don't know much about except for myth and legend. So a lot of this is just like, you know, they have like superpowers. We know, I mean, I love Dynasty Warriors and stuff, so I was partially interested in this game. And then, you know, you play it and you're just like, oh, this is just Warhammer. Like, this is just Warhammer with Asians, you know, like that's literally what it, with Chinese people. This is just, you know, you have the lords. I was so mad because one of the reasons I love Total War is experiencing warfare through the eyes of the common man. You know, of course, you had, in the older ones, you had your famous generals like Napoleon and Caesar and whatever, but you could really see what it's like to be a soldier, because you could zoom in and watch them fight. And you know, you guys know I love that stuff because I give them backstories and everything. And with this one, I remember they came out with unit cards where the soldiers were just grayed out, you know, on the unit card, and it just, that kind of like really it shows that they're putting an emphasis on just the lords, on just the heroes. And it's like, no, I hate that. And that's the other thing I loved about the older Total Wars, is that when you send in your general, it's a moment of like crisis. It's like, usually you send in your general for a desperate situation where you're trying to turn, it's your last hope and trying to turn a battle around. And it's like edge of your seat, like, will my general survive? His bodyguards start dying. You know, he's fighting to the bitter end, but maybe if he just does enough, he can break the enemy. And you don't get that with the new ones. I mean, the Troy has the same issue These heroes, they're not fun. I don't like heroes. I don't. I like watching the common man fight. I like watching like, for example, lone Ashigaru become deadly experts because, you know, they fought in so many battles and they have so many chevrons, and it's just cool. It's cool. And that's something I really like. And again, this is my opinion. If you disagree, that's perfectly fine. So Three Kingdoms has that same issue. I give it an E and not an F because I do like the art style of the game. I think they put in a lot of work with that. It's a beautiful game. It's just, again, it's a Warscape engine, which is just, they need a new engine. They need a new engine. It's awful. You know, China's supposed to be massive. I mean, there's a lot of people that live in this area. Even at that time, even today, China's huge. And the armies felt small. It's just like, why can't you make a new engine that can hold more troops? You know, why can't you have more troops and make it just so immersive, and it makes you feel like you're in China? And it's just you know, the campaign features, they made some progress in campaign features as well, like you know, more trading and stuff. I'm so for that. Lately I've been getting more into campaigns, and I do appreciate cool campaign mechanics that makes it feel more sandbox. Not a narrative, not a story, but a sandbox where you could play the same faction 3 times and every time it's different, which I do appreciate that. So yeah, they added some features that were kind of cool and stuff, but honestly, Three Kingdoms, when it released, it had a multiplayer bug where people couldn't find servers, they couldn't join servers, and it took them like, what, 3 months to fix that at release. And that just shows that, like, CA does not give a crap about multiplayer, which is a real shame. So well, going back to Warhammer 3, I do say, at least they added multiplayer, like more people can play in a campaign. That's really cool, because some of the older games, if I was, you know, like for example, Shogun 2, if it had 4-player co-op campaign or like head-to-head 2 versus 2, I would be playing that nonstop. I would never stop playing that game. And CA, just make another Shogun 2 campaign wise, you know, good as Shogun 2 campaign, and do 4 players in a campaign. That would be amazing. I would never stop playing that game. And that's the biggest issue with these new Total War games. Who's playing Troy? Anyone? Anyone still play Troy? Anyone still playing Three Kingdoms? Multiplayer? You know, anybody playing Battles? No. Who's playing Thrones of Britannia right now, except for like 5 people, and you have to message your friends to actually play a battle because nobody else is on. So yeah, that's the frustrating thing. These new Total War games are not made to last. They just don't last. So you make them, you play them, and 3 months later, here's a new game, you know, everybody buy it, you know, and everybody buys it for some reason. Then they're like, oh, it sucks, and they don't play it. Anyways, moving on. Next game, Warhammer. I'm gonna give this a big fat F. It has to be the Warhammer. It has to be the worst Warhammer of them all. This is like after Rome 2. When I saw the first trailer of Warhammer, I was blown away. I was so excited. You have no idea. I literally would like think about the cool mechanics you could do with fantasy. You know, these epic multi-layer siege battles with dragons like flying over and dropping troops from high in the sky, and you've got, you know, orcs and big trolls knocking down walls and smashing buildings, and you could have you can have the big orcs on the walls like pushing off light little fairies or whatever's in the game, you know, like you could have some cool stuff, you know, some epic stuff. And I'm a big fan of siege battles, and you know, in my mind I was thinking, oh, you could have these amazing siege battles with all, because you have all these different beasts and creatures of war, and it could be a lot of fun. And then I played the game, and I was so disappointed. In fact, that I remember the exact battle I played. I was like the elves versus like the greenskins, and I was playing with Warrior of Sparta. I was playing with him, and he could tell, just like when I started playing, he could tell my disappointment, and he started laughing, you know, like he started laughing because I sounded so defeated, so sad, because the siege battles were just awful. And then from there, you know, the pitch battles were like stupid slow, and I tried my best to enjoy it. I tried to find things I like about it, but I just couldn't do it. And you know, maybe that's why my channel is really struggling right now, because I'm just not, you know, except you just got to play the new games and pretend you like them, and then I'll be a really big YouTuber. You know, I'm just not someone like that. I've always, when I did YouTube, I always kept my head down. I was never the type that was like, oh, I need to do this. I need to do this. And I need to try to network. You know, I need to try to play with this person so I can gain some of his subs. And I was never like, I kept my head down. I did what I love. And I think that's why I had some decent success, because I was passionate. I was excited. These games were fun. And then the new one sucked, and it was soul crushing. And it's hard at this point, because it's so easy, you know, back in 2011 when you're playing Shogun 2 and you're like, oh my God, like I cannot wait to see what the future holds. And then you look at the future, which is now, and it's just soul crushing. So okay, so yeah, Warhammer sucks. It was a really bad game, and it was a huge disappointment for me. But you know, Warhammer is like the most successful Total War, I guess. So Total War light. But it is what it is. What are you gonna do? So next is Thrones of Britannia. Thrones of Britannia, I'm gonna give it a D. Thrones of Britannia had moments of interesting mechanics. For example, one of my favorites is the how when you recruit troops, it takes multiple turns, as if you were like mustering them. Your summer like your lords are gathering their men. It kind of simulates that. I thought that was really cool. But in the siege battles were really awesome. We saw some really cool, interesting siege battles with multi-layers and really cool like pathways going through mountains and troops you could fire down. It's just Thrones of Britannia. Other than that, it's just a really bad game. It felt like a reskin of Attila. It's an ugly game. It's not that pretty of a game. The lighting sucks. I don't know what happened with Total War. After Shogun 2, the Total Wars have just gotten really ugly. The lighting, other than Three Kingdoms, you can tell they put some love in the artistic style of the game. But yeah, Thrones of Britannia, the campaign, I did a couple campaigns, and one was a modded one, so I don't really count that one. But the other one was like Dyflin, really dumb. I enjoyed a little bit of it, but once you get to the point where you want historical realism in a sense to immerse you into that time period. And when I invaded England from Ireland, the Kingdom of England had like stack upon stack upon stack upon stack upon stack upon stack of armies, which is super unrealistic. Back then it was like you had one army, and if you lost the battle decisively, you pretty much lost the war. Now obviously you can't do that, but I would have liked to see something where instead of like the challenge not being, oh you just killed this army, well there's 3 more coming up. It's like, come on, I want something a little, maybe with religion, public order, you know, just make it something more interesting and more challenging than just fighting stack upon stack upon stack. Anyways, Thrones of Britannia was okay. I got some cool battles out of it. The siege battles were cool, but overall it just feels like Warhammer. It feels like Attila. Warscape engine, gross. rubber bandy battles. Just they need a new engine. They need a new engine. That's as simple as that. All right, next, Attila. Attila, I'm gonna put at C. Attila goes to C because it's really built up a nice community with mods. You have 1212 AD, you have Dawnless Days, formerly known as Rise of Mordor. You have a lot of mods. You have, what else do they have? I think they have a lot of, they have like a Rome mod, like a Rome 2 mod. What is it called? Ancient Empires, that's it. So Attila was okay. Again, Warscape engine. It's an ugly game. I mean, one of the ugliest games I have ever played in a Total War game because the lighting sucks. It's just dead and dark. And I get it. It's supposed to like, you're kind of like, this was a dark time. You have the fall of one of the greatest empires ever. A lot of beauty was destroyed. A lot of knowledge was destroyed. But it's just like, have some color in there. Like, it's just so ugly. And I don't know what happened with the lighting. Like, ever since Shogun 2, the lighting has sucked in Total War games. So Attila is definitely a C for me. Again, they added some cool features like a hoarding army, like not a hoarding army. They hoard things. No, they migrate to like nomadic armies, which is interesting. And it's always fun playing as the fall of Rome and trying to save Western Rome from demise, or even playing Eastern Rome and kind of forming that Byzantine Empire. So yeah, Total War Attila, another disappointment. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. Some of the sieges were okay, but a lot of the sieges were, it's just missing that detail. Dude, I wish I could be in charge of siege battles, because I'd make some really cool ones, really kick-ass siege battles. Anyway, kick butt screens. All right, anyways, let's go to Rome 2, which I believe is, I'm also going to give this a C. Rome 2 was flat out, and I will never forgive CA for Rome 2. It was a flat out false advertisement. If you watch the promotional videos, which are hard to find now, it's almost like CA is trying to like delete them. But the promotional videos showing this like epic battle. I remember the siege of Carthage. You guys remember the siege of Carthage? Oh my god. I was like, I'm ready for this game. This is gonna be amazing. It was like this D-Day, like epic, like just this crazy beach landing with artillery flying everywhere and the troops, and you had defenses out on the beaches already by like the vanguard troops. I mean, I don't even know, but it was awesome looking. The city looked amazing, and then it came out and it was broken, and a lot of mechanics from older Total Wars were taken away battle-wise. For example, you have no hill advantage. You should have a hill advantage. By holding the hill, troops should get more tired climbing up the hill. You should have some sort of buff for holding a hill. That's gone. And there's so many videos explaining why Rome 2 is just absolute garbage of a game. And I agree. Now, you might be wondering, well, Apollo, you uploaded a ton of siege battles. You would be correct. I don't think Rome 2 is like, I think you can still have fun with it. But it's very, like, the thing is like, it's very tailored. As in, it's only really siege battles. I don't really care for the pitch battles. And you got to have these strict rules and only these certain settlements, and it's a buggy mess. I mean, there's like pathfinding issues everywhere. The walls are buggy. Sometimes the siege towers don't act correctly, or the rams or the tortoises, like they don't knock the wall down. It's just a mess. It's a mess. And I remember doing a siege tournament in Rome 2, and dude, it was like the stress levels, because you needed like 100 rules, because there's so many exploits and so many broken things, and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. So Rome 2, and there's just no soul to the game. it feels empty, it feels dead. It's an ugly game. Again, there's something weird. These newer games just feel, the only way I could describe it is like plastic Play-Doh. I don't know. It's just, there's no grittiness. There's no like just pulls you in immersiveness. It just feels like this weird, like, I remember seeing Rome 2 and the battlefields would be like shiny. Like there's like this weird shine to them. It just looks fake. It looks gross. The stats make no sense. It's just yeah. And then the DLC policies were disgusting. Like spending like $15 on a reskin. You know, this was, Rome 2 was the beginning of the end for me. For Total War, because they had the gross policies. You know, you had to pre-order to get the Greek city-states. That's a big red flag. That should have, like, everybody should have been like, whoa, the Greeks, you know, this is like, the Greeks are one of the most important cultures of that time, and you're gonna make it behind a paywall. You know, I could see, like, I don't know, like, what fact, like Bactria or I mean, I would hate to see them behind a paywall too. I would hate to see any faction behind a paywall. I mean, this is new stuff. I hate it. I hate the DLC pre-order garbage. Stop. Just stop. I hate it. I absolutely despise it. If I made a gaming company, I would never do a pre-order DLC. I would just make a good game. You hear that, CA? If someone from CA is watching this, just make a good game. You don't need this. They're just greedy. And that's the other thing. Rome 2 had one of the biggest budgets, and they spent most of it on advertising. Do you guys remember the commercials for Rome 2? It was unbelievable. It was like in this realistic Rome city, and like they had all these scenes, all these actors, and it was just like, I'd rather them have like just them showing the game for the advertisement. They don't need these fancy like actors and stuff. Just show the game and put all that money in mechanics. Make it interesting, make it fun, make it grand, make it epic. This is Rome 2, the sequel to one of the greatest Total Wars ever made. But anyways, yeah. So Rome 2, this big time disappointment. I always have that bad taste in my mouth whenever I play the game and I hear that stupid I don't like the music for Rome. Maybe because I've just heard it so much. Attila, I don't like the music in Attila either. Anyways, let's go to the next game, which they actually have Shogun 2 and Fall of the Samurai. I mean, one's an expansion, so I don't really see how that's two separate games. That's like saying Medieval 2 and then all the expansions, like the Crusade expansion, Teutonic expansion. So I'm just going to pair these together. Shogun 2, in my opinion, is a S tier game. Now, it's not perfect, but after playing, especially more recently, I'm kind of a late bloomer when it comes to Shogun 2. The game is almost 100% flawless. It is so, the campaign is so good. So good. It was the last good campaign for Total War. You can make armies without generals. There's animations. There's animations when you send in your assassin to see if they kill an agent or enemy general. These are little things that just the little details really speak to me. Just really speak to me. It really says that you have love and passion for the game. So Shogun 2, the battles are, one thing I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a huge fan of multiplayer battles. I'm just not. They're really fast. That's one gripe. I wish the battles were a little slower, a little bit more tactical positioning. You know, just slow down. It's so fast. It's almost cartoony. How fast they can be. You can get some mods that slow down the combat, but look, and going back to the beginning of this video when I said I'm a romantic, I'm a romantic in the sense that when I play Total War, I've had moments where someone would be, so this is a great example. I'll be building an army and they'll be like, oh, you shouldn't get this unit because they're more expensive, and this other unit that's cheaper is almost as good, so you get more for your money's worth. It's like, well, maybe I just like the way this unit looks. Maybe I think this unit is really cool and really epic. I don't really care about stats. I don't really care about cost effectiveness. All right. I enjoy it. Now, you got to care a little bit, obviously, but I also enjoy the aesthetic of a unit. I also enjoy sending in a weaker unit against an elite unit and somehow they win, maybe with help or whatever. But and we'll get to a game that does a great job of really fueling my romance, like, you know, filling in that romance hole. Oh god. But anyways, yeah, I am a romantic Total War player. I treat my troops as if they are real. I hate to see unnecessary casualties, and I really get immersed. And I remember so many times playing Medieval 2 and just, you know, there's moments where you're holding back, like if you're playing as the Moors and you have the Christian Guard and you're like, oh, I have to send in the Christian Guard. You know, it's like this epic moment of just, you know, it just, I love that stuff. I don't care about stats. I mean, I know stats. I was talking to Ryan King about this recently, in that obviously we know stats are important, but they should be like, for example, if a game is a painting on a canvas, stats should be the canvas, and what you enjoy is the painting, where it's like you understand it's there and everything, but the beauty of the game and the art of the game and what the game's trying to tell you is most important. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but Shogun 2 has great battles. They're a little quick, but I enjoy the siege battles. I enjoy the battles. I enjoy the aesthetic. Samurai look awesome. Japan's aesthetic is really awesome. Samurai are cool. They're like knights. I mean, that's why I enjoy it so much. You know, I love the Ashigaru with the flags on the back, and it's a beautiful game. My God, is it a beautiful game. And I'm not talking like graphics wise. Obviously, it doesn't have the best graphics, but in terms of the atmosphere of the battlefield, you'll have fog and you'll have like petals flying, and then you just have the beautiful armies, and the way the lighting hits the troops, it's beautiful. So it's one of the most beautiful games. It's one of the most inspiring games. Fall of the Samurai was a great expansion back when they did expansions, and it felt complete. It felt like a totally different game, and that's probably why they have Fall of the Samurai separately here. But I just have them together because I like vanilla Shogun 2, like pre-expansion. I really do. Now, Rise of the Samurai, I don't think I ever played. I don't think that's as popular as Fall of the Samurai, but awesome stuff. Really awesome stuff. Great game. And sandboxy, has that sandbox feeling that you know, the newer games don't have. So looking for a good campaign experience, Shogun 2 is where it's at. All right, so let's go to the next one, which I believe is Napoleon. And Napoleon, I'm going to give an A. Now, Napoleon, the reason I don't give it an S is because the campaign is kind of lacking. There's some cool stuff about playing as Napoleon and his campaigns in like Egypt and in Italy and stuff, but overall, the reason I love Napoleon so much is the multiplayer battles. I think Napoleon has one of the greatest multiplayer battles, especially with mods, and mods are important for how much I like a game, because the easier the game to mod, the more there is to do, the replayability. NTW3 is the greatest historical mod ever made. And when you play Napoleon NTW3, it's like any other experience. It really does. That is the kind of Total War game I would want. An NTW3 where you are getting invested in these battles. These battles are not quick little sprints, but marathons of epic engagements and long struggles between an opponent and yourself, where you have these beautiful line battles and these epic cav charges, and the game is beautiful. I think it's right under Shogun 2 in terms of beauty. It's got this, it just does a great job of getting that, like that atmosphere, that immersiveness. It feels like a real battlefield. Again, I'm not talking graphically. I'm just talking like, you know, just overall view of the game, the experience, the immersionness, the immersion. It's just an awesome game. But, you know, it doesn't have, it kind of was like a quick, it almost feels like an expansion to Empire, and that's one of my biggest gripes. But I say A for just like, I love the history, the time period, I love the guns, and I love the battles. They're just so good. The siege battles are trash. I'll give you that. The fort battles, not very good, and that's why I give it an A. Maybe even a B, but nonetheless, it's a game that I really enjoy. All right, next one is going to be Empire. I'm going to give this one a B. Empire, it's a broken game, but it has a lot of heart. They definitely push themselves. That's what I love. Even if it totally fails, at least you tried to do something interesting. In Empire, you definitely have that. You have these epic naval battles, which I believe was new for Total War, naval battles. And they don't have them anymore, but I wish they would. Naval battles are cool. So they have the Empire naval battles. You've got world domination. You have Europe, the Americas, and like India. And it's just so cool to kind of try to take over the whole world. And you have the trading dynamic going on. And you have the 13 colonies. You have America in there, which is really cool. It's just, the game is really broken. I don't know, they went from Medieval 2, which had unique looking soldiers in a unit. You know, like not every soldier looked identical. Back to every unit looking the same in Empire, which in the unit, if you get what I'm saying. I don't think I'm explaining that well. But anyways, Empire is a broken mess, but I love it. And you could tell they put a little heart and soul. It's one of the better selling Total Wars because also it involves nations that are still present today. And I think a lot of people love their nation, which is a beautiful thing. And they want to play as their nation. And that's cool. So Empire is B. I enjoy it. Do I play it a lot? Not really, but it did leave a mark on me in a good way of like, it was cool. It was cool. It's just, it had a lot going on. I mean, you had Indians to Indians, native Indians to Indians in India. So very cool stuff. And that's why I give it a B, just because it's a glitchy mess. But I love it. I love it. All right, next is Medieval 2. Whoop! I think that's a given. Medieval 2 is my all-time favorite Total War game, and I have the most wonderful memories of this game. Still to this day, my greatest battle ever is on Medieval 2. I'm not going to tell you what it is because that's going to be, I'm going to do a commentary over the greatest battle ever. For my million sub special, which might be in a couple of years or whatever. But Medieval 2 is just perfect. It's not glitch free. No Total War game is. But it's working off the same engine of Rome Total War, which is another great game. But it's medieval. Everybody loves medieval. The battles, people complain that the units respond sluggishly. Like, they don't instantly react when you tell them to go somewhere, but I like that. Again, I'm a romance kind of guy when it comes to this stuff. I like the feeling that this is a real battle, and when you give a command, it's not going to be instant. I like the grittiness and just how nasty these battles get. And the siege battles are amazing. Just absolutely amazing. The multi-layered. I mean, these were just epic struggles. And I remember watching one of my favorite siege battles was a Prince of Macedon battle where he played as the Byzantine Empire, and he played against some terrible players, but it was just epic seeing him hold. No, he was England. His ally was the Byzantine Empire. It's one of his most viewed videos where he was holding back like Egypt with few troops, and it was just like Kingdom of Heaven, hold the breach epic style, and that was just so cool to watch. So Medieval 2 has a fantastic campaign. You have a lot of the older, better features. Now, it is a dated game at this point. It doesn't run well on Windows 10, which is a real shame. I think in Windows 7 it still runs flawlessly. I mean, I have people who said, you know, the Ryan King's almost like I might go back to Windows 7 just so I can play Medieval 2 flawlessly, you know, without any stutterness or anything. But Medieval 2 has fantastic expansions, just the Teutonic, and you can all the custom scenarios you can make. It's so easy to mod. It has one of the greatest modding communities. I mean, you got Third Age, you have Third Age Reforged, you have Stainless Steel, you have, I mean, I even played like a Zelda mod on Medieval 2. It's crazy what you can do with this game, and just the battles feel so lifelike. And I love the Crusader dynamic when the Pope calls for a crusade. It's so awesome. I just think about it and get so happy because it's just, I had so many great memories, and I just remember playing Medieval 2 and again thinking like, God, you know, I can't wait to see the future of Total War. Little did I know. But Medieval 2 is S tier easily. Next up, we've got another S tier, baby. Rome Total War. This game. Total War exists today probably because of Rome Total War. This game pushed the boundaries. They pushed the limits at its current time. I mean, look at Rome 2. Look at the year it was released. What was it, like 2006? Something like that. Look at other battle type games at that year, at that time period. They are ugly. Rome 2 is a beautiful game. So is Medieval 2, but anyways, Rome 2 is a beautiful game. Or I'm sorry, Rome Total War. Not Rome 2. Sorry. Rome Total War is a beautiful game, and they push the limits. This is the first 3D game. Shields would actually block arrows. Before, the older games are like just stat games. Like, you know, they just relied on stats rather than, you know, actual physical things going on in the battle. You know, different angles that you charge from and stuff, where the arrows land. It's an awesome game, and it set the standard for the next couple Total Wars. It's just, you could tell that this game was a passion project. You know, little tiny details of the game. I watched a lot of YouTubers make some videos about why it's so good, and you know, really, when I think of Rome Total, it's sometimes a lot of these games I can't even explain in extreme detail why. I just can't. It's just a feeling. Again, I'm a romance guy, and also I have a lot of fond memories with Rome Total War because I would watch Prince of Macedon. Oh, dude, Prince of Macedon made the greatest Total War videos playing Rome Total War, his epic battles. He was so good at the game, or he is good at the game, and he'd do those 8-player free-for-alls. It's just, what a great time. Like, when I look at Total War YouTube now, and I'm like, God, this is it. I'm not hating on any other Total War YouTubers or even with myself. You know, there's just this, like, the thing with Prince is that it wasn't a business for him. It was pure passion and love. And that's not to say I don't really treat my YouTube as a business. I mean, you can see that I post things that hurt my channel all the time. I say things that are not safe to say. And because I don't treat it is a business. It's technically an LLC. But I don't treat it as if I'm trying to every year grow it and make more money. And for me, it's just, as long as it pays my bills and I'm doing something I'm passionate about, you know, the game. I'm making videos that I'm passionate about. And that's what Prince's all is, man. He never did it for a living. And there's a charm to his videos, a passion. There was I remember back like 2011, 2012, 2013, I think even earlier, like maybe 2008, just like watching his videos and just be glued to them and just being like, whoa, like this guy's epic, you know. It was so cool. Like, dang, dude, he made some great stuff. So Prince of Macedon, and you know, CA did him dirty. They did him dirty. So they should have a throne for Prince of Macedon in the Creative Assembly studio. Kind of like how like cathedrals have like a chair for the Pope. They should have that in the studios where he should be able to return at any time and sit on that throne, because he is literally the father of all Total War YouTubers. And yeah, it's just awesome. Anyways, more about the game. It was a great time. Rome Total War. And the cool thing about this is like I'm revisiting these games because I'm able to buy a better computer. Back then, I had to like play on lowest settings, so it's like a lot of these games I can revisit, and there's a charm to it because I'm experiencing something I've never experienced before. So now is this what is this, Shogun? Is this I don't know what this is. Is this Shogun Rise of the Samurai? Whatever, we'll just leave that out. Next we have Medieval Total War. I'm gonna put that at A or B. I mean, I didn't play a ton of these games. My first Total War was Medieval Total War, so it was a special game. But I'm gonna actually put Shogun Total War there as well at B, because these games are the foundation of this entire franchise. And especially Shogun Total War, it's a game like never before, where it wasn't like Age of Empires where you had individual troops. Instead you had units, and it felt like a real battle. It felt like an actual battle, a history. I remember playing Medieval Total War and just being like, wow, whoa, it's like I'm commanding an army into battle, something I always wanted. I remember playing Age of Mythology, and I would make custom, how you can make custom maps? I would purposely make the armies huge so I could see a proper huge battle instead of just like 20 guys versus 20 guys. Medieval Total War, that fixed the problem. We had hundreds of troops. So I don't really know enough to say much about these games, because Medieval I played a long time ago, and Medieval 2 is just so good. It's hard to go back to Medieval Total War. But yeah, Shogun Total War, I played a little bit of that recently because I bought it on Steam and stuff, but they're kind of really dated, and it's hard to but they are very important to the franchise. And I'm sure the original people who made these games are long gone, probably with different companies. Even like Rome Total War, Medieval 2, they're long now. What kind of people do we have making games? I don't know. People who don't love history, who don't love Total War, that's for sure. But yeah, I'll put them at B. They're just, you gotta respect them. So that's about wraps it up here for this video. It's a long video, but hopefully this gives you an idea of the games that I enjoy for Total War. If you have any questions or anything, let me know down in the comments. What is your favorite Total War? And let me know. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I don't know. If you like this, let me know, and maybe I could do more S tier stuff. They're fun. It's kind of like therapeutic for me, so I can just let everything out. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.